The drifting ghost captain. Marcus Reed had seen many strange things during his 15 years patrolling the Outer Rim territories, but nothing prepared him for what floated before his ship. The vessel looked ancient, its hull covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and writhe in the starlight. No life signs registered on his scanners, yet something about the ship felt alive. "Captain, we're receiving a faint distress signal," reported Lieutenant Jake Morrison from the communications station. "It's not in any language our computers recognize." Marcus studied the alien craft through the view screen. The ship appeared to be Vorthak design, but different somehow. More elegant, more deadly. The Vorthak Empire had been humanity's enemy for 3 years now, ever since they declared war on all inferior species in this sector of space. "Sir, should we investigate or report it to Fleet Command?" asked Ensign Beth Torres, her finger hovering over the communications panel. Marcus knew protocol demanded they call for backup, but something in his gut told him time was running out. The ship was drifting toward a gravity well that would pull it into the nearby star within hours. "We investigate," he decided. "Prep the boarding shuttle." 20 minutes later, Marcus and his small team cut through the alien hull. The interior was dark and cold, filled with technology that hummed with unfamiliar energy. They followed the distress signal deeper into the ship, past chambers filled with strange equipment and walls covered in those shifting symbols. They found her in what appeared to be a medical bay, suspended in a crystalline chamber that flickered with dying light. She was beautiful in an otherworldly way, with pale skin that seemed to glow and silver hair that moved as if underwater. But it was her eyes that caught Marcus off guard when they suddenly opened. Deep red, ancient, and filled with desperate hunger. She spoke in that same unknown language, her voice like whispered silk. The universal translator in Marcus's helmet crackled to life after a moment. "Please," it translated. "I am dying. My people, they cast me out. I need life force to survive." "Life force?" Marcus asked, though he suspected he knew what she meant. "Blood," she whispered. "I am Nyx Shadowborn, last of the Vorthak blood drinkers. My kind were exiled for being different. I have not fed in many cycles. I am fading." Marcus felt his team tense behind him. Everyone knew the stories about Vorthak vampires, savage creatures that drained entire colonies. But looking at this frail being before him, he saw something else. Desperation. Loneliness. A spark of something that reminded him of humanity's own struggles against extinction. Against all protocol and common sense, Marcus made a decision that would change everything. "How much do you need?" he asked. The Bond Formsnik stared at the human captain in disbelief. In all her centuries of existence, no being had ever willingly offered to help her. The Vorthak Empire had cast her out precisely because she refused to drain victims completely, choosing instead to take only what she needed to survive. They called her weak, defective, an embarrassment to their warrior race. "You do not understand," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "My kind are your enemies. We have killed thousands of your people." Marcus stepped closer to her chamber, ignoring the nervous shuffles of his crew behind him. "Maybe your kind did, but you're not them, are you? You were cast out. That tells me you're different." Nyx felt something stir within her that she had. Thought long dead, hope. "I would need only a small amount, enough to restore my strength. But the process, it creates a bond. You would carry part of my essence, and I would carry part of yours." "What kind of bond?" Lieutenant Morrison asked, his weapon still drawn. "A sharing of life," Nyx replied. "Enhanced healing, increased strength, extended lifespan. But also, we would sense each other's emotions, thoughts, when the connection is strong. Some of my people consider it sacred. Others see it as weakness." Marcus looked back at his crew. Beth Torres stepped forward, her medical scanner in hand. Captain, her readings are erratic. She's telling the truth about dying. Whatever she is, she doesn't have long. Sir, Morrison said quietly, this could be a trap. The Vorthak are known for their deception. Marcus studied Nix's face, seeing past the alien features to the pain and isolation beneath. He thought of humanity's own outcasts, the ones society left behind. How many times had humans been judged by their worst examples? Stand down, Morrison, he ordered. Torres, monitor my vitals. If anything goes wrong, get me to the medical bay. Immediately. Nix's chamber began to open with a soft hiss. She was smaller than Marcus had expected, barely reaching his shoulder, her form graceful despite her obvious weakness. She approached slowly, her movements fluid like water. Give me your hand, she said softly. Marcus extended his hand, and Nix took it gently in both of hers. Her skin was cool, but not unpleasantly so. She brought his wrist to her lips, and Marcus felt a sharp but brief pain as her fangs pierced his skin. The sensation was unlike anything he had ever experienced. He felt his life force flowing into her, but instead of weakness, he felt a strange warmth spreading through his body. Images flashed through his mind, ancient cities under alien suns, the loneliness of centuries, the pain of exile, but also something else, strength, power, knowledge of technologies beyond human understanding. When Nix finally pulled away, her appearance had changed dramatically. Her skin now had a healthy glow, her eyes were brighter, and she stood straighter. But it was Marcus who felt the most profound change. His senses were sharper, his mind clearer, and somewhere in the back of his consciousness, he could feel her presence like a warm flame. It is done, Nix said, her voice now strong and clear. We are bonded, Marcus Reed. Your kindness has saved not just my life, but awakened something in me I thought was lost forever. Awakened powers. The changes in Marcus became apparent within hours of returning to his ship. His reflexes were faster, his thinking clearer, and most remarkably, he could sense Nix's emotions like a distant melody in his mind. She had been given quarters under guard, but Marcus could feel her gratitude mixed with something deeper, a fierce loyalty that surprised him. Captain, your medical readings are off the charts, Dr. Rachel Voss reported during his mandatory examination. Your cellular regeneration has increased by 300%. Your neural activity is enhanced, and your immune system has been completely restructured. Whatever that creature did to you, it's changing you at a genetic level. Do I need to be concerned? Marcus asked, though he felt better than he had in years. Honestly, I don't know. This is beyond anything in our medical databases. But your vitals are stable, actually better than before. It's like your body is operating at peak efficiency. Before Dr. Voss could continue, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Marcus felt a sudden surge of fear through his bond with Nix. Not his fear, but hers. Captain, to the bridge. Morrison's voice crackled over the comm. We have multiple Vorthak warships dropping out of hyperspace. They're demanding we surrender the Exile. Marcus rushed to the bridge where the view screen showed 5 massive Vorthak dreadnoughts in attack formation. Their dark hulls bristled with weapons that could reduce his ship to atoms in seconds. They found me, Nix said, appearing at his side. The guards had brought her to the bridge when the alert sounded. My former clan! They want to finish what they started. The communication system activated, and a harsh Vorthak voice filled the bridge. Human vessel, you harbor a criminal. Exile. Surrender the blood drinker Nix Shadowborn, and you will be allowed to leave this sector alive. Marcus felt Nix's resignation through their bond. She was prepared to sacrifice herself to save his crew, but something else was stirring within him. A fierce protectiveness that seemed to come from both human instinct and something darker, more primal. This is Captain Marcus Reed, he responded. Nix Shadowborn is under the protection of the Terran Federation. If you want her, you'll have to go through us. Then you will die with the Exile, the Vorthak commander snarled. As the enemy ships began to charge their weapons, Marcus felt something extraordinary happen. Through his bond with Nyx, knowledge flowed into his mind. Tactical information about Vorthak ships, their weaknesses, their fighting patterns. But more than that, he could sense the crew's positions on each vessel, their intentions, their fears. "Morrison, evasive pattern Delta 7, Marcus ordered, his voice carrying new authority. "Torres, transfer all power to forward shields. Target the lead ship's port engine assembly." "Sir, how did you know that was their weak point?" Morrison asked as he executed the maneuvers. Marcus didn't answer. He was too busy processing the flood of tactical data flowing through his enhanced consciousness. Nyx stood beside him, her eyes closed in concentration, and he realized she was sharing not just her knowledge, but her centuries of combat experience. Together, they began to dance through space, one human ship against 5 Vorthak dreadnoughts, moving with precision that defied all logic. The bond between them had awakened something that neither human nor Vorthak had seen before, a fusion of human determination and alien power that would change the course of the war. The hunt begins. The battle lasted 3 hours, but it felt like minutes to Marcus. Moving with Nyx's shared consciousness, his ship danced between the massive Vorthak vessels like a sparrow among eagles. Every shot they fired seemed to anticipate his moves, yet somehow he always slipped away at the last second. "Captain, this is impossible," Torres called out, as another barrage of plasma fire passed harmlessly through the space they had occupied moments before. "We should have been destroyed 20 times over." Marcus barely heard her. Through his bond with Nyx, he was experiencing combat from an entirely new perspective. He could sense the Vorthak crew's growing frustration, their disbelief at being outmaneuvered by a single human vessel. More importantly, he could feel their fear beginning to replace their anger. "They are afraid," Nyx said quietly, her hand resting on his shoulder. "They have never seen anyone fight like this. We are showing them something new." "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," Morrison reported. "It's from the lead Vorthak ship." The screen filled with the image of a scarred Vorthak warrior, his face twisted with rage and something else, uncertainty. "What manner of sorcery is this, human?" the commander demanded. "No single ship should possess such capabilities." Marcus felt a surge of confidence that wasn't entirely his own. This is what happens when you underestimate both humans and the ones you cast aside. Nyx Shadowborn is no longer your concern. "The blood drinker has corrupted you," the commander spat. "She has made you into an abomination like herself." "No," Marcus replied, feeling Nyx's strength flowing through him. "She has made me something better." What happened next surprised everyone, including Marcus himself. Nyx stepped forward to the view screen, and for the first time in centuries, she spoke to her former people with authority. "Commander Thane," she said, her voice carrying power that made the bridge equipment hum. "You hunt me still, yet you cannot defeat one human ship. Perhaps it is you who are weak." The Vorthak commander's eyes widened in recognition, and something approaching fear. "Impossible. Your powers were stripped away. The Blood Council removed your birthright." "They removed my shackles," Nyx corrected. "This human's courage has awakened what they tried to suppress. I am no longer the broken exile you remember." Marcus felt something incredible happening. Through their bond, Nyx's suppressed abilities were flowing back to her, amplified by his human determination and refusal to give up. But more than that, his own human traits were being enhanced by her alien gifts. "You see, Commander," Marcus said, understanding flooding through him. "Humanity has a gift your empire never understood. We don't just survive, we adapt. We grow, stronger through our bonds with others." And now that strength is combined with powers your people feared so much they tried to destroy them. The tactical display showed something that made Morrison gasp. The 5 Vorthak ships were slowly backing away, their formation breaking apart. "This is not over," Commander Thane snarled. "The Empire will hear of this. They will send fleets to destroy this abomination you have become." "Let them come," Marcus replied, feeling Nyx's hand squeeze his shoulder. "We'll be ready." As the Vorthak ships jumped to hyperspace, Marcus realized the true magnitude of what had just happened. They hadn't just won a battle. They had announced to the galaxy that something new had been born. A fusion of human determination and ancient alien power that could stand against any empire. "Captain," Dr. Voss's voice came over the comm, filled with wonder. "You need to see the readings I'm getting from both you and our guest. The changes are accelerating. Whatever you two have become, it's beyond anything in our databases." Marcus looked at Nyx, seeing his own amazement reflected in her ancient eyes. They had thought the bond was about survival, but it was becoming clear that it was about evolution. Humanity was about to take its next step forward, and it would be guided by an outcast vampire who had found her true home among the stars. Birth of Legend 6. Months after the battle, Captain Marcus Reed's ship had become something of a legend throughout the Outer Rim. The starbound Phoenix no longer traveled alone. It led a small but growing fleet of human and alien vessels, all united under a new banner that bore both the Terran Federation eagle and a symbol that Nyx had taught them represented new beginnings in the ancient Vorthak tongue. The changes in Marcus had continued to evolve. His lifespan had been extended dramatically, his physical capabilities enhanced beyond human norms, and most remarkably, he had developed the ability to sense deception and read hostile intent from vast distances. Dr. Voss had documented everything, her reports causing quite a stir back on Earth. But it was Nyx who had undergone the most dramatic transformation. No longer the weakened exile they had rescued, she had become something unprecedented, a being who combined the ancient wisdom and power of her people with something she had never possessed before: hope for the future. The reports from the front. "Lines are getting worse," Lieutenant Morrison said during their morning briefing. "The Vorthak Empire has launched a full-scale invasion of the Centauri sector. 3 colonies have already fallen, and Fleet Command estimates they have less than 2 weeks before the core worlds are threatened." Marcus studied the tactical display, feeling Nyx's presence in his mind as she processed the same information. Their bond had grown stronger over the months, allowing them to share thoughts and strategies instantaneously. "They are moving too. Fast," Nyx said aloud for the benefit of the bridge crew. "This is not their usual methodical conquest pattern. They are afraid of something." "Afraid of what we represent," Marcus realized. "Word of our abilities has spread. They know that if other humans and vampires form similar bonds, their empire could face a threat unlike anything they've encountered." "Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth," Torres announced. "It's from Fleet Admiral Harrison himself." The screen activated to show an elderly man with tired eyes and the weight of command on his shoulders. "Captain Reed, I'll be direct. The situation is desperate. Our conventional forces can't match the Vorthak fleet strength. Intelligence suggests they're planning to strike at Earth itself within the month." Marcus felt Nyx's hand slip into his, their bond strengthening his resolve. "What do you need from us, Admiral?" "The reports about your enhanced capabilities have reached the highest levels of government. We need to know, is what happened to you replicable? Can we create more human-vampire bonds?" Nyx stepped forward. "Admiral Harrison, I am Nyx Shadowborn. There are others like me scattered throughout the galaxy, exiles cast out by the Empire for refusing to embrace their cruelty. If we could find them, if willing humans were prepared to form bonds, how many are we talking about?" the Admiral asked. "Perhaps 50. Maybe 100 survivors scattered across dozens of systems," Nyx replied. but each bond would create abilities like ours, enhanced humans who could stand against entire Vorthak squadrons. Marcus squeezed Nyx's hand, feeling her uncertainty through their connection. "There's a risk, isn't there?" She nodded reluctantly. "Not all of my people who were exiled shared my restraint. Some were banished for different reasons, and not all humans would be compatible with the bonding process. Some might not survive it." Admiral Harrison was quiet for a long moment. "Captain Reed, I'm authorizing you to recruit volunteers and begin this program. The survival of humanity may depend on it." 3 weeks later, Marcus stood on the bridge of his flagship, now leading a fleet of 30 vessels. Beside him stood not just Nyx, but 12 other human-vampire pairs, each bond unique, but all sharing the same incredible combination of human determination and alien power. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity was no longer facing it alone. They had allies who understood what it meant to be cast out, to be underestimated, and to find strength in the bonds that others saw as weakness. As the massive Vorthak invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace, Marcus felt the combined will of his bonded crews flowing through the telepathic network Nyx had taught them to create. Humanity was about to show the galaxy what happened when an unstoppable force met an unbreakable bond. The age of the blood-bonded had begun, and the universe would never be the same.